Ryan Kemner, the racing experts. Tyler, we talked last week about coming to Kansas this week, and you said that you were more nervous than excited. Has that changed at all, or are you still a little bit nervous for this weekend?
I think it's fair to be nervous. I think for us, we've I wouldn't say we've ran last, but we've definitely we had a stretch here where, whether it was a 2311 Toyota or a Toyota race car in general, we had a pretty good wrap around here being able to win races. So yeah, I look at I'd say the last 2 or 3 times we've been here, we've just been missing a little bit of something. And yeah, the car changes, the Goodyear tires change, so naturally got to keep up with it. So yeah, I think it's fair to be nervous. There's a lot that weighs on this weekend. It's super important for us to either win or B, run top 5 all day and score a lot of points.
Branching off that, how well you at 2311 has been preparing, what's been the atmosphere at Airspeed this week?
Everyone's had their head down for sure. Yeah, it was a really tough week. I think we all know we got our asses kicked pretty good at Loudon, and I feel like it's motivated everybody properly. It's easy to be down, but we have 2 opportunities to, like I said, either win or score a lot of points. So for the 45 team, yeah, we've been able to. I say Kansas is concerning, right? We look at other mile-and-a-halfs this year. I feel like when we brought cars capable of winning races, it's been at those mile-and-a-half racetracks. So it has been a minute. It's been since, I think, Charlotte Motor Speedway, since we've had a true mile-and-a-half race. So yeah, there's been a lot of time for things to change, people to catch up, people to fall behind. So I think that just adds to the nerves of the weekend and seeing how we perform when we hit the racetrack.
Tim Moore, Motorsports Day. Tyler, I'm wondering, because the last time you guys had a top 10 here was back when you won in 23. Just how frustrating, how frustrating does that become for a driver or a crew chief when you guys go from dominating at a racetrack to then just kind of scratching your head on what do you guys need, in especially a critical playoff race to get to where you need?
Yeah, it certainly will frustrate you, motivate you. You'll scratch your head some. Yeah, I think the positive for us is it seems like it's typically been something that is a challenge about Kansas specifically. I feel like in the years since I won here, I've been able to go to other intermediate style racetracks. Obviously, I guess I won Homestead last year, but beyond that, like, your Texas Motor Speedways, your Charlottes, your Vegas tracks, been able to go to those other mile-and-a-halfs and have lots of speed. So, yeah, we should be able to figure this out, I'd say, when we're able to go to these other mile-and-a-half track types that, yes, are different, but they have similarities, and we're able to put it together there. So we just got to figure it out, and hopefully our starting point this weekend is much more what we need. I think that's what was a real point of frustration for us last year, or this spring, is, I walked away from practice being happier than I've ever been at a place like Kansas, even winning here. And, the race was a struggle. So we just really have to be on top of it, pay attention to our notes. And yeah, just try to make the best adjustments possible going into the race.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Tyler, with what you're talking about with feeling good in practice here in the spring and not in the race, how rare of a situation is that, or how often does that happen where you feel so good in practice, but then things go an opposite direction in race with changing conditions? Is that a once in a year type of thing, or has that been happening more often
I feel
for
like
you guys?
My first year here, and at times throughout the year last year, the first half of the year last year, I feel like Bubba and myself would show up to just pick a racetrack, and we would be, top of the board in practice, and things look great and everything's fine. We still qualify good. But yeah, it seemed like we would just slide in the wrong direction as the track would rubber in. We would lose performance throughout the race, and I think we've done a better job of leveling that out a little bit. It's just sometimes in practice, yeah, that sort of thing can just happen, and it's on us to figure out what that is and pick up on those trends. And I feel like we've done a good job of that. But that race in the spring was one that kind of stood out. It was like, man, I don't know if it's just because you're spread out a little bit and you can kind of have cleanish air and move around and make speed in other lanes. But yeah, it's a part of racing. Sometimes it can happen. These cars are very sensitive to inputs and just traffic and all those things. And so it's easy to think you have something that's going to be great for the race, and it quickly to turn its ugly head and then be a problem. So it's just, you got to be really mindful, getting going in practice and mindful of your balance, regardless of how many laps you run in practice.